Hi, and welcome back to Conversations. And this time we were going to talk about some of our favorite underrated movies. And I think I'll go first, I suppose. And my first pick, both of the ones I'm picking are kind of more on the dramatic side, weirdly. I think that's also like a genre that a lot of people overlook because it's not like so in your face and you kind of have to pay attention to things. And it's not for everybody, but I really like the movie Frailty with Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey. And Bill Paxton directed this movie as well, rest in peace. I think he's a great actor. He just did like so many different things. You know, he did like comedy with Club Dread, and he could just, you know, kind of do whatever. And I just... Twister. Yeah. I mean, that's like half a comedy. And... yeah. I just really love his stuff, and the whole, you know, premise of the movie is that Bill Paxton has two sons, and he believes that he's seen...
I'm sorry, I had tenderloins.
We fed you a lot. But he believes that he's seen a vision of an angel telling him that it is now his job to find and kill demons, and it's about his sons kind of reacting to that, and them thinking that, like, wondering if he's crazy, is this real, like, what's happening? And it's a very slow burn, and it starts with Matthew McConaughey as the older version of one of his sons coming to an FBI agent and telling him the story. And Matthew McConaughey is great in this. Like, this was way before he did, you know, romantic comedies. I think this was very early, like 2000s, like 2001 or something like that. And, you know, he's been doing a lot more dramatic roles lately, and I like to call that like the McConaissance because, you know, he's just showing a lot more range, and he's really, really great in this. Again, it's a pretty long movie. It's a pretty slow burn, but it just pays off so well in the end. It's got, you know, it's just an awesome movie, and it's just really fun to watch those, you know, characters, especially if you like saw them later in life, like seeing them when they're younger, like doing those kind of roles is really cool. And I think my other pick would be Less Than Zero. I believe this came out in the late 80s, and it stars Jamie Gertz, who was in Lost Boys, Andrew McCarthy, who's been in a lot of things, and Robert Downey Junior. And it's kind of almost biographical of Robert Downey Jr.'s life at the time because, you know, it's about a group of three friends that just graduated high school, and they're in LA. They're all their families are really rich, and you know, they're going to go off there and do their separate things, and Robert Downey Jr. plays Julian, and, you know, gets into drugs, gets into alcohol, and it's all about Andrew McCarthy's character kind of coming back to try and help him. And James Spader is also in it, and he's kind of like a villain in it, which is fun, because he kind of did that in Age of Ultron also. And it's just a really cool movie. It's just interesting to see that time period and stuff, and, like, you know, even though they all have really rich families and come from like this charmed kind of life, it's very interesting to see like all their struggles and all that, and they're just trying to navigate life and try and help him out, and they don't really know what to do because, you know, that's a hard thing to deal with, like your friend kind of going off the rails, and Robert Downey Jr. is just great in it, and he, you know, it is kind of funny that that's kind of like what he was doing at the time, and yeah, he kind of was going down that path, and then it's so interesting to see that and then see him now. It's kind of cool.
No, I like him.
So those
I can get down with those. I haven't seen them, so
those are two that
I haven't seen.
I think you would really love Less Than Zero. It's a very, very good movie. Especially, I think that's one that you would like. What are some of your top picks there?
I don't know. I'd say one that's pretty recent would probably be Changeland with Seth Green and Breckin Meyer. And,
I love that, and Brenda Song and Macaulay Culkin are in it also. And
I just think the idea of journey of like finding yourself and you know, trying to, obviously Seth Green's character is going through some stuff, possibly a big decision in regards to his wife, who he believes is cheating on him, and so they go to Thailand, and
it's like a trip they were supposed to go on together, and he panics, and
Breckin Meyer is the friend that tags along, and it is a really good performance by him. Hi, Cake. And
Hi, Cake.
I don't know. I loved the feel of it, and I loved the message in it, and I thought that it was
The location, I mean,
it's
just
really great comedic timing, and Randy Orton's in it for all you wrestling fans out there, briefly, and it's just one that I think went under the radar that not a whole lot of people know about, but it is on Hulu, I believe, still, because that's where I watched it last.
The thing I like about that movie too is it feels like a movie a bunch of friends made. And like I think Breckin Meyer is like a very, very underrated actor because he is great in that. He's so funny.
And for this to be Seth Green's like main like directorial like
it's his own thing, and it's so good, and it's so, you kind of think he would do something more, just full on comedy, and it's got like these, very poignant.
It's just got a charm to it. It's like the buddy, and I'm there for you, and we'll get through this, and like keep your head up and try things.
It's just very wholesome. It's a very wholesome movie.
Do you please like while we're in this foreign land, like do things that you normally wouldn't do, and like take a risk, and just don't worry about the things back home. You can worry about that when the time is right, and so I love that about that movie. And oh man, I would say Event Horizon. Definitely.
It's a very unnerving movie.
If you're squeamish.
I call it Hellraiser in space.
It is Hellraiser in space. Essentially, it is Hellraiser in space. Lawrence Fishburne's in that one, right?
Is he?
Or am I thinking of a different space movie that he's in? Who's in that? Wow, I'm talking about...
Well, it's Sam Neill.
Sam Neill, yes, that's the guy I couldn't
Sam Neill is
the
main guy.
And just the slow descent into just pure madness is, and it's a wild ride throughout that entire descent.
And it's we're getting to be around Halloween time, and that's a really
that
good
is a
one
movie.
to
Yeah,
watch.
if you haven't seen it, that is one to watch during Halloween time. Space horror is.
So many practical effects.
It's very few and far between because most people just jump to Alien because obviously that's the staple.
It's so interesting that it doesn't have that element in it.
Yeah,
it's way different than that.
It's kind of weird how most people don't bring that into conversation about like space horror, and Event Horizon is definitely one that is underrated. Maybe like a bonus one, like as far as like comedy, is probably Bedazzled.
With Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Watch that when we were young, and I know critically, everyone's gonna have their opinion on it, but like that's not what it's about. It's about finding the charm and finding the effort and finding the comedy in it, which I thought was really well done. Every single character that Brendan Fraser plays is hilarious.
The world that they drop him into, I just think the coolest part of that movie is that it's already like lived in. He's not like in it like wondering who's this, who that, who is in it and like wondering what's going on. Like he has all the memories, he has all the knowledge of like who's who. Like in the first one they're speaking Spanish like the whole time, and it's totally believable, and it's just so interesting. And it's like Elizabeth Hurley's character is the devil, and she asked Brendan Fraser to like give over his soul for 7 wishes, and he starts wishing for certain things so that he can be with this woman that he's been pining over.
I really think
it's so cool.
Part of it is just like it's nothing that we haven't seen before, as far as like be careful what you wish for, and you just might get it, but it's not going to be everything that you hope for. But that doesn't matter to me because it does have that charm. Like all these movies have some sort of like charm or aesthetic or aura that draw you in to them, and I think maybe it's something that's missed when they're initially released. Like some people have to go back
and a lot of that kind of thing, and the reason a lot of movies are underrated is because of the other movies that came out at the time could have overshadowed them. Like if your movie came out during like when Titanic came out, like there's timing things and stuff like that make people overlook movies in that way. And I think that when you have all these streaming services now and you see the resurgence of like these movies coming back, and you can finally appreciate them more.
And a lot of them are from non-big studios, like, you know, Changeland doesn't come from a large studio. The other ones that we mentioned do, but some of them fly under the radar because they're not in deep into the Hollywood machine.
Yeah, but yeah, just let us know if there are any like movies that you think are underrated. Maybe we could watch them, or maybe we have watched them. We can agree, disagree, have conversations about it. We just love to see more comments and things like that. It would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
I'm always up for new flicks, so I'm glad I have two right here. So any more, I welcome it.